What is the single most you'll understand it when you're older thing? That the quality rather than quantity of friends matters. I'd rather have 4 quarters in my pocket than 100 pennies. Can we get McDonald's? No, we have food at home. My so is in his 30s and I still have to tell him that LOL. Good people aren't always nice people, and vice versa. Nice is not the same as kind. Nice is image management. Kind is caring about other people. Time off. Working crazy hours in my early 20s was nice because I had a lot of money, but as I became older and more involved with my now fiancé and my friends, I realized that there's a balance. This drove me to look for a job with a little less pay but far better hours, and now I'm happy. Don't work like a slave, you'll miss a lot of good things in life. Understanding why your parents wanted you to go play with the awkward kid, or why they were so keen to help you make friends. It's beyond annoying as a kid when your parents try to guide who make friends with, but most parents instinctually know that bad social habits start early, are hard to break, and can be a real burden when you are older. My mom never liked my friend group and it really annoyed me. Looking back, half of them were assholes anyway and the other half were already doing things that led them into a life of drug addiction after high school. I never got into drinking and drugs like that, but everyone around me was doing it and I had every opportunity to. Looking back, she was just looking out for me, and even though she didn't have proof of what we're doing, she was just an adult who had lived and could tell it wasn't a good group of friends. Why it's so annoying when you forget to take the chicken out of the freezer. I, too, will be ordering pizza tonight. Why elderly people in nursing homes who get no visitors are so lonely and filled with despair. We had to put my mom in a home because we physically could not care for her anymore. She didn't want to be there, and we didn't want her to be. But there weren't any other options. My dad was there every day until he got sick and died. My sister and I stopped in a couple of times a week each. The last month of her life I was there every day. I hope she knew I did the best I could to take care of her. I'm sure she did. The most valuable thing you can do is give your time, and it sounds like you did exactly that. She definitely knew. Hand-me-downs. I absolutely hated them, even though my grandma was a genius with them. Dyeing, artistic patches, new buttons. They just didn't last compared to the new clothes my older sister had. Then I had 3 boys in 6 years. I'm seriously grateful that my grandma tried so hard to make my hand-me-downs look good. I get it now. Not helping every person who says they're in need. Some folks'll con your ass. A lighter side of this, no matter how much you want to, you can't help everyone, especially if they are not ready to accept your help. It really hurts sometimes too, especially if you love that person but you just can't help them or they don't want your help. You just sit at the sidelines wondering if you could have done something better. Friendships fading away. I remember my dad telling me all kinds of cool stories about things him and his friends did in the past. I even asked him, why aren't you still friends with these people? He really did basically say, it's complicated, you'll understand when you're older. Even back then I remember thinking, that's crazy, me and my friends will always be friends. Sitting here now in my early 30s and it really hits home. Losing best friends is the hardest. Why my parents would look disgusted eating/drinking anything that was sweet. I never understood why they watered down juice until now. When adults said something was too sweet, I literally couldn't comprehend that phrase. It was an oxymoron to me. Sweet equals good. How can something be too good? Now I completely understand. It is possible to do everything right and still fail. Don't let it consume you. Pick up the pieces and move on. I had to learn this after a project that I was on for 3 years was sabotaged and chickened. I did some amazing work, and poured my life into that project. In the end I had nothing to show for it. It put me in a real slump for a few years. I'm still trying to pull myself out of it without becoming a cynical and jaded asshole. Data learned this lesson from Captain Jean-Luc Picard. And so did I. For people still wondering, the episode this occurs in is S2E21, Peak Performance. The sound of your joints exploding every time you get up. Man, I've been getting that since I was in high school. What parents sacrifice just so you can do something fun. Last night my husband and I sat in a line of cars for an hour and a half so our kids could see this cheesy drive-through light display in my town with Santa and other characters. 0/10 not worth it for us, but the kids loved it and it was worth it to see them be able to do a fun Christmas activity during a pandemic. It made me think of how much my parents had to endure taking my brother and I to theme parks and stuff as a kid just to see us happy. I appreciate it infinitely more now. When I was pregnant I went to visit my hometown and my friends threw a baby shower for me, and I also had a few birthday presents from people for my birthday the month before. When I was packing to go home, there wasn't room for the baby stuff and the stuff for me, so I took home all the baby stuff and left my presents behind for my granny to bring up at a later date. And I remember sitting there looking at my suitcase being like, oh, so this is how it's going to be. Time, wasting time, and how time flies. It's mid-December and I'm saying to myself, what the heck, it's been 9 months of COVID-19 and I can't believe this year is almost over. As you age it seems to go faster and faster. When I was younger I felt like time just dragged on some days. I can remember when I was school age, the year seemed to drag on forever, then when it did end we had the 6 weeks holidays. 6 whole weeks. With hour upon hour of sunshine, towards the end of it school was but a distant memory. It felt like it would never end. Of course, it always did when September finally arrived. Now I work at a school and it's terrifying how quickly we blaze through each term. Those same holidays are over in a flash. I think it's because now I'm older I'm consciously worried about making the most of the time off, not wasting it. When I was young the biggest worry was whether my friends and I would play in the woods or on the fell that day. Time wasn't a worry, we thought we had all the time in the world. Sleep is no punishment, it's a gift. Yup, I used to dislike nap times when I was in kindergarten. Now that I'm older, I wish I could take a nap here and there during my work days. Literally getting older. Never thought much about when adults would say you're still young, just enjoy it. I always wanted to be older because I was tired of HS, wanted to be out of college, etc. Now I want aging to slow down a bit. The thing that is the worst about getting older is seeing your parents and other loved ones age and eventually pass away. When you're a kid, even a high school age kid, you assume these people will just be around forever and things will always stay the same as they were. It makes it easier to be disrespectful and generally take them for granted. I'm now 35, and this year was the first where I started noticing physical limitations with my dad especially, and that was hard. They're minor for now, but it's only going to get worse. The biggest blow to me is realizing I likely have less than 20 years left with my parents. Losing that constant source of love and support will be hard to take. They've been a rock my entire life. The quiet, boring, simple times are the best. Everyone's fed, happy, healthy, chill, napping, these are the good times. Very true.